How you going, guys? It's 3:45 on the 3rd of October here in Newfarm. So we're working on this job at Mountford Street, 47 Mountford Street, and what we're doing is we're getting these beams in. The big problem, or not problem, was the thing that's always fun in doing this is the amount of time it takes to think it through and to try and work out how we're going to make this work, not for down here, but for the next level up. Okay, we've already beefed things up, like that piece of steel that Cameron's working on right now, welding that together. On the engineering would be a piece of 200 across there, a bit of 200C channel, because we have a leftover off the 300 over there. I'll use that leftover there, which makes it stronger. Okay, since I had it here, it doesn't matter. Okay, we've beefed the 180s. He's had 180s on the engineering. Well, I've changed those to 200s because one, I like working with 200s better than 180s, and I can then just order a whole stack of 200 and not have to worry about which size goes where. So we've got some 200s going through, but the thing we've got happening, we've got it all packed down onto the blocks. We haven't actually got any grout or anything because we've got a lot of weight and a lot of bracing value we need to get here. So what would normally happen on the engineering, like he's got on engineering, we would use some screws to hold that beam up at the right height with some nuts on the bottom, just to elevate it to the right height, and then grout it later. But the nuts on the thread are not strong enough to hold the amount of weight and bracing value I've got needed, or I need on this house. I'll explain that as we go through. So what we've done is we've taken everything and we're solid to the block wall, okay, then bolts into the block wall and then pack it with steel, adjust it to height because blocks are never straight. So we've then got it packed up and then it's got to be all welded together so we can get our support value there for tie down, not for compression but for tie down. It can't compress, it's steel. Now we've got also happening is that this all seems like, yeah, okay, just do it. We'll do what's on the plan. Yeah, what's on the plan? As we try and do this, I'll just pan around here. As you've seen before, we've got this old house that we've got to fit this house on top of that. And once we get the floor in, we then slide this house over the top of there and then anchor it all down. Now, that all sounds easy, but how do we stop it from moving? Right now we've got a nice breeze coming through here, which is a pretty good breeze for right now. But during a storm it's a whole lot worse. We get storms coming through with the breeze coming through from the southeast at 160 k's an hour. Okay, now this house, you see that far side over there where that black beam is? Well, just on the other side of that, just a little over a metre past that, is the vessel block wall. Now the posts that are holding this house up, which are 3.5 metres above the floor, or 3 metres above the floor, so you've got 10-foot ceilings, have to be anchored down onto that vessel block wall. And there's only 4 posts on that wall. Only 4. There is no bracing wall because it's all glass, doors and windows. There is nothing on that side. Okay, so that is a very crucial bracing wall and there is none. So we have to take all that bracing value back into the house and of course try our best to brace those posts that are going in there. So I've got to anchor them down onto the concrete, and what we're doing is putting cleats on the side, so the LVL, just like this side here, we've got on this side there will be a 300 LVL right flush with the outside of the bricks. Now that LVL is going to fit between the posts that come on this side, and on the side of the post 45mm in, so it allows for the LVL, are going to be cleats with 3 holes in them, and those LVLs bolt to those posts, so they give it a little bit of lateral bracing value. Not much, but it's better than none at all. Okay, and that's got to go in on the floor. The hard part is we can't put the posts up until after we get the house in, and we can't get the house in without putting the floor on. And we can't put the floor on, we can't finish the floor without having the posts in. And we can't weld the posts above the floor. They have to go right through and bolt on to the concrete for tie down value and for bracing value. So yeah, huge catch-22 here, and yeah, we're having difficulty putting our heads around it. I'm getting it slowly, but trying to make it happen so Duncan's carpenters come through, put the floor on, and leave space for us to put the posts back in, because for anybody that's had an experience of trying to get into a floor after the floor's down without wrecking the floor and without wrecking all the joists and whatever to get down to the posts is difficult. So we have to try and allocate space for them. But to do that, of course, yeah, it's difficult. It's fun. We're doing it. It's a bit of a spin out. Sometimes I'm trying to work out how to do it best so we can get the best bracing value, because half the posts that are in the house are welded on top of these steel beams. Okay, so we have to weld on top of these steel beams, which isn't too bad because we can cut the floor out around the steel, where the steel beams are, because it's only just the flooring that we have to go through the ply. But where we've got to take those posts down to the brickwork, that is difficult. So I've got to make all the stub posts, I've got to put them in so the chippies know where to leave space for us. But the hard part is we've got to get back to it. So that's all part and parcel of the job. It takes time to work it all out, and there's not many guys around town that do it that way. Most of them just throw it down as it is on the plan, and whatever moves, moves, and it's not their problem. Well, unfortunately I'm not that way inclined. I've got to think about what's happening upstairs, because if it's moving, I guarantee Duncan will be on my back to say, why is this thing moving? And so would anybody else. If it was your house, you'd be wanting to know too. Okay? And then they'll just throw it back on the engineer. Well, the engineer's done his job. Now we've got to try and make it better. Because what the engineer has allowed for is all the weights and all the measures. Now we've got to allow for that thing, which is a bit of weight, going to come across this thing, and the wind at 160 k's an hour is going to want to shake it. And I'm doing my best to make sure it doesn't do that. So that's what's taking us a bit of time. So if anybody's wondering why it takes me a bit longer to do things, it usually is because I'm spending a bit longer thinking about what is going to happen to the building after we've left it. And trying to make sure that it's all done so the rest of the guys that come across don't need to worry about it. Most of them won't care anyway, but I do. So that's what we're doing. We'll hopefully cut these beams off tomorrow too. I know what size we are now, so I can work that out. We've got another beam this side, another beam on the other side of that one. So yes, there's a heap to do yet, and we'll get it done. Anyway, that was it. I just want to let you know all that stuff, and you'll see it as it goes on. I'll try and make some more videos, because it's interesting how it's all going to happen and pan out. So it'll be good. Talk to you guys again soon. See ya. Bye.